Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So, yesterday was a family day and it was a stressful day. I have laundry to do. I went to get Ella up yesterday morning and she had thrown up in her tent. I just kind of figured, because she had Doritos in her tent last night, sometimes she gets hungry throughout the night. And just to help keep her in her room, I will give her a little bit of a snack that she can take to bed and she can snack on throughout the night if she gets hungry. But I just figured maybe she got like a chip kind of stuck in her throat and she threw up. That wasn't the case apparently, because she threw up 9 times in total since yesterday, 2 nights ago. I'll talk more about it. My camera's gonna die. I need to charge up my batteries. None of them are charged. I gotta get laundry over. I gotta get more laundry in because of throw up, and I will just explain everything a little bit later. Okay, so I've edited 2 or 3 videos. 3, maybe 3 or 4. Honestly, I don't remember. I have 1 exporting right now, and there's a couple of other ones here. Real quick, while that one's editing though, we have been on a fidget cube making extravaganza, if you will. There's all kinds of different colors down in here, but what these are just cubes that infinitely fold on themselves like that. And I'm trying to find where it starts the print right there. Okay. These are all for craft shows and stuff. We're prepping all kinds of stuff early, so that we're not in a rush when it comes time to print. Like, or when it comes time for the craft shows. They're not until July, but it's March. So April, or we'll just count March because it's the beginning. So March, April, May, June, July. Yeah. So we don't have a whole ton of time, and while there's no Etsy orders that need to be printed right now, we're taking advantage of that and printing while we have use of the printers without having orders to do. But I went to use my new card reader today and it did not work. So I'm gonna have Tim look at it and then possibly just return it to Amazon because it's broken. So the other night, Ella went to bed Saturday night. Yes, Saturday night. She went out, or she went to bed. She was fine. She got up throughout the middle of the night. She was still fine. She went back to her bed. And then sometime after she went back to bed and us getting her up in the morning, which we got her up at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, she had thrown up in her tent. Like I said, I gave her a snack when she woke up in the middle of the night. I just figured she was, you know, if you swallow a chip and it's pokey or something, it hurts. And I just figured with her being smaller, it had upset her belly a little bit and she had thrown up, and I didn't think anything of it. We went out yesterday. She didn't have a fever or anything. You know, she was acting her normal self. She wasn't acting sick or anything. So we went out to our friend's house. Tim had to work on their printers. While he was up there working on her printers, I was down outside playing with Ella and Ella was hanging out with their 4 kiddos and running around, having a good old time, laughing, playing, being happy little Ella. She cried because she wanted some more milk, so I went to the store, got her some more milk, and she drank about half of it. She sat down and played in the sunshine for like 10 minutes and then she was up running around again. She had tripped because the one girl that she was playing with at our friend's house, our friend's daughter, was like hovering over Ella, and you know, they were running around playing. Her, the older girl was chasing Ella around, Ella was chasing her around, vice versa. So the older girl was chasing Ella around. Well, she got a little too close because she's obviously faster because she's taller and older. She got a little too close. Ella just stepped up onto their pavement sidewalk and like driveway area, and the girl stepped on Ella's shoe. Ella went to move that foot. Ella went down, caught herself. Obviously she cried. She had a pebble stuck in this palm, and then she had a pebble stuck in this palm. This one had broken the skin and she was bleeding. It wasn't like a bad bleed. It wasn't like bleeding. But it was bleeding enough where, like, you know, if you just scrape something, it doesn't necessarily bleed like drips of blood, but it does like pool a little bit with blood, if that makes sense. So that happened. And I don't know, she was crying. I pulled her into me to hug her, to like console her before I did anything else. And then I pulled her away, looked at her, found that the pebble had scraped open her hand pretty good, pulled the pebbles out, and then pulled her back into a hug. And out of nowhere, she just threw up all over the front of me. I was like, oh, and I kind of like shifted so that I was behind her, and she just kept throwing up. Got her all cleaned up, got a band-aid on her hand. I just figured maybe, with that one, I figured it was either because of the blood, because I don't think she's ever really seen blood before, so I didn't know if it was that, and she just had a weak stomach and threw up because of that, or if it's because of the milk and playing outside and running around and having a good old time. Maybe it just upset her belly, because it was a little warm yesterday. It was like 70 degrees out yesterday. It was beautiful. And obviously we haven't had weather like that in quite a while. So I just figured maybe that the milk had become unsettled in her belly and made her upset. She cried, obviously, because her hand hurt and she had just thrown up. But then 10 minutes go by and she was only crying periodically, and that was because of her hand. She would cry and then she would stop and focus on her tablet again, and then she would just cry for another 30 seconds and then stop and focus on her tablet. It's like whenever she became distracted, the pain, she realized that the pain was there and cried out, and then she distracted herself again. We got in the car, we left, we went over to get some mice for Andy and gas and everything, because gas is like $4.20 here right now. So we went to Ohio, that's where we get the mice anyways, and then we went to Sam's Club and got gas over in Ohio for $3.77 a gallon. So we got all that figured out. She took a nap pretty much the entire way. She woke up here and there whenever there was a stop sign or Tim got out of the car or something, but she cried for a little bit and then she would fall right back asleep. She slept all the way until, when did she wake up? I don't remember exactly when she woke up.
Mommy, I want Pocket Juice.
You want what?
Pocket Juice Ryan.
You want to watch Ryan?
Pocket Juice Ryan.
Pocket Juice?
Pocket Juice.
What?
Pocket Juice Ryan.
You want Juice and Ryan?
Pocket Juice, Pocket Juice.
Pikachu?
Yeah, it is Pocket Juice.
Oh, okay.
Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse. I want.
You want to watch Mickey Mouse?
I want No. No.
Wait, what?
I want. I want. What did you eat?
You want what?
What did you eat?
Okay, hey, you gotta focus. Come here. You want what?
I want packaging. Wow.
You want your Spider-Man thing?
Yeah, it's a toy.
So, yeah, she slept for, a decent, at least an hour that she had slept.
It's like a toy.
Okay, hey, I'm talking. Just hang on, okay? So, she got a decent nap, and then we met our friends at Red Lobster for dinner last night. Again, after she had thrown up, she was in good spirits. Even after she'd woken up from her nap, she was in great spirits. She was perfectly fine.
It's like a toy. It's Spider-Man.
It is Spider-Man.
It's like a toy, man.
It is a toy. Here, okay, just hold on. She was perfectly fine, so I just figured it was her belly that was upset from the milk or the blood, like I had said. Here's that. Then at Red Lobster, she was fine. Again, she was active fine. She didn't really eat, but that's not unusual for her.
It's so silly.
You're so silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, that's not unusual for her.
Spider-Man.
It is Spider-Man. Look, you take it. I thought you would just squeeze it. Squeeze the launcher, that's what it says.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Cat.
I don't know. Here you go. Hop down.
Up down.
Here you go.
Yeah.
So anyways, at Red Lobster, she was having fun. She was talking good. She was interacting with me and Tim and our friend and his wife and their daughter. Everything was going good. And then at the very end of the meal, I had gotten a box to put the rest of my popcorn and shrimp in because I had gotten full. And our friend had asked if I wanted the rest of his popcorn shrimp because he only had like 10 pieces left and it wasn't worth taking home, but he was too full to eat it. And I was getting ready to open my box to have him put the rest of his into my box. And Tim goes, babe, she's throwing up all the way, like she's throwing up all over the place over here. So I scooped her up, ran her to the bathroom, and I figured in there it'd be a little bit easier to clean up because it's not on carpet and there was toilets. So I got in there, I put her down, I said, hey, if you need to throw up, go over to the toilet and throw up into the toilet. She said okay and immediately ran over to the toilet and threw up some more in the toilet. I then hollered out to Tim, asked if he could bring me her diaper bag because she needed a complete change of clothes. The way she had like thrown up, she was sitting down on her chair sideways, so like her feet weren't hanging off. She had them like curled up and she was sitting facing out. Like the back is okay, you're sitting in a chair normally. She was sitting this way in the chair, so the back was right here. She was like crisscrossed on her lap and she like threw up into her lap. It was all over her shirt, all over her pant or her like short skirt thing that she had on. All over her shoes, her socks, everything. Everything was soaked. So Tim ran out to the car, grabbed me her diaper bag. I stripped her down in the bathroom, just plain as day. When our friend, our friend's wife brought the diaper bag in because obviously it was the girls' room. She walked in and Ella was just in socks because I was in the process of stripping her down. Her shoes were in the sink, her shirt and her skirt were on the floor, her socks ended up on the floor. She had throw up all over her legs. I got wet paper towels. I'm heaving while trying to wipe it off of her. trying not to throw up myself. And then finally got that all cleaned up. I got her dressed, and then I focused on everything else. If people had walked in, it would just be atrocious. Got her dressed. I hollered out to the one chef because the way the bathrooms are located, it's like across the hallway from the like kitchen. So one of the chefs were sitting there on his phone, just like scrolling while waiting for more orders or whatever to come through. And I said, hey, do you guys happen to have any takeout bags? He's like, a takeout bag? I was like, yeah, my daughter just got sick and it was all over her clothes and I don't want to just put her clothes into her diaper bag, just all free and everything. He's like, oh yeah, sure. And he gave me 2 bags. I put her dirty clothes into the bag, tied it, put that into another bag, tied it, and then put that into her diaper bag. As soon as we got home, I ripped open those bags, dumped the stuff straight into the washer, and it got washed this morning. So she, she sat on the changing table, which was thankfully right next to the sinks. I washed off her shoes. I carried her shoes. I didn't make her put her shoes back on because they were still a little wet. But thankfully, I had packed 2 outfits just in case. I always have 2 outfits on hand for just in case reasons. And then I also had managed to pack an extra pair of socks. Thank heavens. So she was just in her socks. I carried her, and then she went over to her daddy and wanted her daddy to carry her. So got everything all figured out. Got her back into the car. And everything was okay. We got home. She was fine. As soon as she had thrown up and I got her changed out of her wet clothes, I think she was more upset that her clothes were wet than she was from throwing up. As soon as I got her dried and into dry, warm clothes, she was her normal, happy self again. She was a little tired, but she was her normal, happy self. I don't know. We came home, got Ella ready for bed, checked her temperature. It was 101.1, so it was slightly high, but it wasn't like too bad. Gave her a little bit of Tylenol, let her lay in Mommy and Daddy's bed under Mommy's blanket for an hour or 2, and then put her into her tent. She came out like 10 minutes later because she had pooped, so I changed her. She got back into bed. And then she slept until about 6 this morning, I think. Woke up and she had thrown up again. Just the one time throughout the night she had thrown up. She came in and told us that she had thrown up. I got her in the bath. Tim kind of watched over her. He doesn't wash her. He's just not quite comfortable with it now that she's getting older, which is totally fine because it's the same. A lot of guys are the same way with their daughters. Especially with a lot of like accusations and stuff that get thrown around towards guys. Anyways, so he's not entirely comfortable. He'll do it if he has to, but it's not his favorite thing in the world to do. So I got her in the tub. He watched her to make sure nothing bad happened, like she's not gonna drown or anything in the bathtub. I cleaned her tent. I had to take her bedding out of her tent. I had to change her pillowcase. I had to wipe it down. So what I did was I took my spray, sprayed it down, wiped it out, let it dry a little bit, and then took antibacterial wipes and wiped it down, let that dry, and then I put her new blankets and stuff in. In between the process of letting everything dry, I went into the bathroom. I washed her hair because she had vomit in her hair, so I got that all cleaned up, got her all cleaned up, got her back into some fresh, warm, clean jammies, and we've just kind of been hanging around the house all day because I'm not going to take her out. She hasn't thrown up since this morning, and it's almost 5 o'clock, so she hasn't thrown up since about 6 o'clock this morning, and she's been okay for the most part. And She's still not eating a whole ton, which again, that's not out of the normal for her. I bypassed the milk this morning for her because I did not want it to upset her belly more. She has been drinking water, but that's it, and just kind of relaxing today, so hopefully she's on the mend. Our friend's wife had suggested maybe it was lactose intolerance because of all the milk that she had. And so I had questioned on my YouTube group, on my Facebook YouTube group, and a lot of people think it was just a 24-hour type stomach bug, which I'm honestly starting to agree with because she is perfectly fine right now. And throughout the course of yesterday, she never once complained about her belly hurting, never once complained about not feeling well. She's perfectly fine and happy, healthy. And then she throws up, she cries for like 10 minutes, and then she's okay. I have no idea. So after I got her bathed and like dressed and everything, and her bed was completely made, she wanted to go back into her bed and she laid down. I don't know if she necessarily went back to sleep, but she stayed in her room and watched her tablet for a few hours. Mommy went back in and Mommy went back to sleep, and I think Daddy did too because we were dead tired. I had stayed up, sorry for the ankle, but I had stayed up for I don't know, I think it was like 3-4 o'clock this morning when I went to bed because I was waiting to see if she had come out. But she stayed in her bed until, like I said, 6 when she came out, 6:30, whatever it was. But she was perfectly fine. I ended up falling asleep around 3-4 o'clock and then got woken up at 6. Got her bed and everything all changed, so. Juice? Be careful, okay?
Oh, my hands are all better.
Good.
Shoes.
Okay, you go play, okay?
Works.
But yeah, so yesterday when we were out at the mice, we ended up picking up 3 mice. Fed Andy last night, and now we've got 2 of them in this cage. So they're over here, huddled together. They're rats, they're not actually mice, but I put them in this cage because that's obviously a little small. That's just like how we transport them back and from the house, unless they're too small for in here. But these guys are perfectly good in here, huh? You guys are biggins. Hi. I have a bowl of cheese there that they can munch on, and then we've got water. Not like extravagant luxury lifestyle for them.
I want.
You want what?
I want.